All right, welcome to Crash Podcast. This is where we talk about moments life smacks us into the wall. Addiction, burnout, restaurant chaos, and then the rebuild that comes afterwards. Chemicals, restaurants, after midnight, stupid decisions, and hangovers. I'm Bjorn from Hold My NA Beer, and today I have my brother Josh Thompson with me. Obviously, I've known Josh his whole life. He's known me his whole life. I couldn't think of a better person to start a pilot episode and get the idea of what the hell I'm doing here and the inspiration to make a podcast. Josh, how are you?
I'm doing all right, man. It's been one of those work weeks, just hanging out in the hotel in Maryland.
Right on, right on. Well, let's get into it. So you and I have obviously done a lot of things together. We've worked together. We've gotten messed up together. We've gotten in fights. We've mended those fights. We've seen each other through lots of life's ups and downs, relationships, and pretty much everything. Beyond being a brother, I definitely consider you one of my closest friends. And that to me is thicker than blood sometimes. So what were some of the early starts that you had in either like addictive tendencies or drugs and alcohol?
Well, I mean, addictive tendencies goes back to stealing dad's cigarettes out of the garage and smoking his halves. I mean, that was the start. That would have been 13 years old, 12 years old, something like that. Yep, stealing. Because he never smoked the whole cigarette. He'd smoke a half of it and he'd put it out. And then he noticed after about a month that half of his cigarettes was getting smoked. So he started smoking the whole thing. I was like, all right, well, I guess I got to go get my own. So that would have been the start as far as addiction aspect goes. I mean, hell, I'm still smoking to this day. Well, vape and my pipe, but that's about it. And then, oh, hell, alcohol. I can blame you on alcohol for that one.
I said I turned the whole smoking what's left in the ashtray into an art, and I would go get rolling papers and dump them all into one and roll it up so I could just have one cigarette.
Dude, I wish I'd have thought of that. I was trying to get away with it while he was like asleep, or it was just him in the house or something. I'd run out real quick, smoke a little quarter or the half, and then put it out. It's like, he's not going to notice the smell. He's the smoker. So, but no, and then alcohol was, well, when you have an alcoholic brother, you tend to get into alcohol pretty easily. I don't think it was quite you, but I think it was, no. I think it was a bit of also dad stealing glasses out of his box wine that he used to have in the garage.
I never knew he kept box wine in the garage.
So that would have been back when we were at the 2-story house, not the one on Knollwood, the other one that was a really nice one with the tiny backyard. But he used to keep, God, I would have been, probably 12.
I wasn't around for that house.
No, you were in Minnesota in college, I think. Yeah, he used to keep boxed the cheapo whatever crap box wine. Yeah, Franzia, that stuff. It was always like a red or a very sweet wine, but he'd keep that in the garage, and I'd go out and steal a bit here and there, even if it wasn't with a glass.
Alcoholism ran in our family.
Oh, it definitely does. Definitely does. I mean, that's not just you. Hell, look at Jessica.
I know. I got it from Dad. I mean,
oh yeah,
Dad had it. I got it. I don't know if I can say I got it from him or not, but I certainly didn't stop you guys from getting it. I nurtured it in my shitty times.
It worked out though. I mean, I rarely touch anything anymore, no matter what it is, and that worked out because I got to see the wonderful world of full-on alcoholism and drug addiction, and got my own little foyer into the drug world, and then and learned that it's not very beneficial to a successful life. So
yeah. Let's dive into that a little bit.
Sure.
Like, I guess the hope of this interview is to dig it out of you or to have you dig it out of me, one of the two, because eventually I'm going to have to tell my story on my own podcast to give myself a little bit of, I don't know if credit is the right word, because not like I look for credit in that realm, but I guess to tell my story eventually. What about some of the toughest times that after the early start? Obviously there's the progression. So where did it take you? Where did you see it take me? I guess it'd be interesting hearing my story from somebody else's perspective too.
Okay. Well, let's see. We'll go. The one that still sticks into my head the most, aside from our fun little get drunk while they were in Minnesota thing and getting a phone call in the middle of the night, like, "Hey, what are you guys doing?
Yeah,
Nothing. Sure you're not
that
drinking?"
was a bad night. That was a bad night.
Yeah.
It started fun,
Dude,
and it got
it
bad.
did start fun. I still remember that night very, very vividly just because I remember walking into your fucking bedroom and flipping your ass off the bed, and you don't remember that. I still can't believe you don't remember that. I literally threw you off your bed.
Nope, don't remember that. Oh, there's
That was
several
a
stories in my life like that. I've
yeah,
had a
that was
5-gallon bucket of water dumped on me on the floor, and I didn't wake up.
I think that one, and then I remember the one that still sticks in my head, and you'll remember this one very well as well. Knollwood. I remember,
Yeah.
God, it had to have been 2 o'clock in the morning, looking out my window and seeing you stumbling on the street, and thinking he'll be all right when he walks in the door. And then I heard the crash of the lamp or whatever it was you knocked
Oh,
over, and that night, that was a
yeah.
yep. Dad waking up and going down, and that whole thing. That was a fun one. I remember that.
A
And I remember,
blurry
I
memory of
think
that, but yeah, I remember it wasn't good.
I believe your statement was that the swig you took at the gas station had to have been doped or wasn't quite what it was.
Yeah, that was all bullshit.
Oh, I know, but that was the line we were going with that night, I guess.
Oh, something about I took a pull off of somebody's flask or something.
I remember that one very vividly. I mean, I also remember all of my own stupid decisions.
Yeah,
I didn't get kicked out for my stupid decisions.
yeah. I
It's-
guess I've been
what
kicked out
else?
of the house a few times. Your mom kicked me out. That was back on Redwood. And when I moved back here for the first half, or moved back to Vegas for the first half of senior year, I ended up getting suspended for not going to a class that did not even exist during that hour. And dad kind of tried to fight that with me, and they held the suspension anyway. While on suspension, I was skateboarding across the street from the school, and I had a pocket knife on me, not doing anything wrong at the time. And school police rolled up on me and they said, "Get up on the wall." And I was like, "Whatever, I'm not doing anything wrong." And they found the pocket knife, they confiscated it, and then they expelled me for having a knife on campus because I didn't read the fine print that during suspension, you need to be 1,000 feet or more away from school grounds. So got suspended for BS and then expelled. Also, I did have blue dreadlocks at the time and
I remember
of
those.
a little bit of a rebel, you could say. And so
I
that
remember that.
led me to being kicked out. And I ended up moving in with dad's buddy, Kim J, over at Tango Apartments. And that lasted a very short amount of time. And I moved in with the guys upstairs, which was a bunch of like 21-year-olds. And I had a bed, we had milk crates for the TV, a punching bag was our couch, and we fucking drank and smoked and did whatever every single night. And I hung out at skate park. Then that house busted up, and I ended up living in the playground that was next to the skate park, like homeless, and I would steal from Albertsons to eat. I was pretty impressed with myself that I could walk out of there with a box of cereal and a few steaks and like eat it at the park. I mean,
That's
I
yeah.
was pretty impressed with the ability that I had to shoplift food to get eaten. So, and then I don't even remember. I think I had talked to dad at one point and decided to move back to Minnesota to try and get my shit together, which kind of worked, but wow.
I mean,
Yeah,
you got
retracing
your shit
steps.
together now, so yeah. It always does. I mean, I think we both had those times. I definitely didn't know that you were fucking living in the playground. That's a new one. Like I
Oh, you
remember
didn't know that
the
I lived there for a little
I didn't
while? I
I
slept in
didn't
the
know
fucking
you
slide.
I
Oh,
didn't know
yeah.
that. No.
Yep.
That would have been if you were 18, I would have been
I
what?
was 17 still, I think, because it was the first half of senior year. Yeah, your
81,
mom
12
kicked me out when I was
difference.
17 because she just couldn't handle my shit. I mean, nothing against her. She was right to do it.
Yeah. So if you were 17, I would have been fucking what, 6? 5, 6, something like that.
Yeah. So
So
that was well before.
yeah, but that was well before I even. Well, if they were still fucking married, then definitely, yeah. So it would have been 5.
Yeah. Okay.
Back to the
Yeah.
beginning, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we get the fun little interim later of after you came back and what was I 16 and the half a handle of
Oh, when I
vodka at the
came back in
pool.
'08. Yeah. Well, I had done some years of damage prior to that,
Yeah.
quite a few.
I know it was right after my divorce, I think. Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
Let's reel it back in a little bit. I mean, that's how yours and I's conversations go. If we're trying to remember something, it's going to stumble into 30 different memories.
Yep.
So, a moment that changed things for you.
Between us or just in my own personal
No,
life?
your own personal. And I
A
have
moment.
several of those personally, but
I have two very definitive ones involving different substances. We'll put it that way.
I know one of
So I
them has
think,
to do with Chris in the tattoo shop.
yeah. Well, yeah, but it didn't have to do with Chris particularly. But yes, Chris was definitely led into that. So okay, we'll call it three then. I think
A
we'll call
catalyst.
three. Yeah, it was definitely a catalyst in that regard. So I mean, one would be post divorce, and I'm pretty sure everybody has a pretty rough time immediately after divorce. It's
Oh, yeah. You
especially
know
in
one of
the.
mine.
Oh yeah,
You
no,
know
I
two of
know,
mine.
I know.
I guess.
I was there for both of yours.
Yes, you were.
Yeah, but
You were either the first or second person I called.
yeah, checks out. I don't remember who
It
I
was
called.
either you or Joseph was who I
Oh
called
yeah.
first. I don't remember.
Where was I going? Okay, yeah. At post divorce, I got into about a 6 month stretch of was it Johnny's. I think that was the bar, Johnny's Pub or something like that, up on right across from basically where Steph's house is. It was right across the
Okay.
freeway.
Yeah. I know where you're talking about.
Yeah, it was like right in the back. I want to say it was called Johnny's or something like that. I don't remember, but the owner, the bartender slash owner, whatever, really nice dude. But I would go in there every single day after work. I would be there about 8 o'clock, almost on the dot. And I always ordered my bacon cheeseburger, and then I had either a beer or I'd have some kind of mixed drink. And then after a while, it turned into multiple beers and multiple mixed drinks. And then I'd sit there for a few hours and basically take over their fucking music system, and I'd play pool all night. But the one big one was so that was about 6 months straight of me showing up there every day, 8 o'clock, staying for a few hours, getting drunk, and then I would drive home because it was right across the street, so I didn't really care that much. It was short
Yeah.
distance. I wasn't gonna be a big issue. One night I was talking to, I don't remember the girl's name, some girl that I was flirting with at the time, but she ended up saying, "Oh, why don't you come over?" This was at like 8:30, so I downed all of my drinks from the 8 o'clock that I normally drink in the span of time that I stay there. So I had 3 beers, 2 shots, and 2 mixed drinks. They were vodka tonics. So I had 2 vodka tonics, 2 shots. I want to say those are whiskey, and then 3 beers and my burger that I always eat. So I had the
In
burger
30
and
minutes?
fries in 30 minutes. And then I remember looking at the bartender and saying, "Hey man, I'll see you later," and walking out. I drove to this girl's house. I got to her place, ended up throwing up in the fucking front yard 2 times before I ever went in. Went up, knocked on, this is an apartment complex, went up, knocked on her door, went in, we sat down and threw on a movie, and I fell asleep like that. Cuddled up on the couch, watched a movie, cool, whatever. Woke up like 45 minutes later being like, I guess I'll head out. So I drove my ass back to, I was still living with Steph at the time. I was just sleeping on the fucking couch. Drove back there, threw up 2 more times in the front yard, went in the front door, fell
At
asleep on the
least it's
couch.
easy cleanup.
Well, no shit, it was in rocks. I didn't give a fuck. I didn't even, it did not matter to me at all, man. But I remember that night specifically because after that night, I stopped drinking. I stopped going to the bar. Like there was no long, I recognized that night that I could have fucking either killed myself or killed somebody because I was not sober enough to be driving. And I recognized that while I was driving, and I did not give a fuck because I was driving, and who cares? Like I'm not a bad driver when I'm drunk, but I'm also not normal. I'm probably,
Yeah.
you know how it is. You followed me home
Yep.
from the pub that one night where I break a little too quick and
Yep.
that fun stuff. But that was a definitive night of, okay, I should probably stop drinking because this was not a good thing. And I could have killed somebody, and I recognized it, and I was like, all right. So I didn't go back to that bar. And then I ended up going back to that bar 6 months later when I was dating Steph's roommate. And
Yeah.
we sat down, and he looked at me, he's like, dude, I thought you died. I was like, what? Like the bartender that I had for so long, he thought I died because I stopped showing up after that night. I never went in there again. So 6 months later, he sees me, he's like, I thought you died. Like, oh, good to know. That was just one of those things.
Yeah.
And that was a big one. That was kind of where I stopped drinking, and it turned into like, okay, if I do drink, I'm drinking for flavor, not for quantity or not for anything else. So like I'm very particular about what I drink now. It's specialty whiskeys, specialty scotch, or really, really nice bottles. I have a love for gins, so many wonderful flavors in gin. But that's kind of my thing now. If I do drink, which I don't think I've drank in probably over a year now, just because I haven't bothered. It doesn't appeal to me. Like there's no point, and I haven't found anything new. It's for flavor now, and it's never to the
I,
extent of even a buzz.
I don't even, I see 12 and a half years removed from alcohol. And as romantic as that sounds, it still doesn't make sense to me.
I know. And that's a lot of people though, is I see that a lot in my industry, especially like I know you see it in the restaurant industry a lot. And I obviously
Yeah.
saw it a lot when I was working restaurant industry. And I see it now a lot in UXO is most people in UXO are either alcoholics or serial adulterers or just general pieces of crap. Like it's not the good people that are in this industry for the most part. A lot of it is like, well, okay, what do we do when we're not at work, when we're in another state away from our family? We go to a hotel and we get drunk. I'm glad I never picked that up because it never appealed to me. Instead of doing all that dumb shit that everybody else does, because I see it when they go to work the next day and they're like, they look like crap or, they smell wonderful walking in.
Smart move.
But that is a very big thing in this industry as well. So second, I guess, thing with the last two would be the same substance. Another one of those moments of like I could have killed myself or killed somebody else or ended up in jail. I was picking up a baggie of meth from our guy out in Cali. So this was like Death Valley, California. So it was probably like a 3 or 4 hour drive. Everybody else is working. I'm at the tattoo shop and they're like, hey man, you want to go pick it up? I was like, sure, fuck it. Why not? So I drive out, I get there, give the dude money, which
Is that
I
the
still
first shop
loved.
or the second shop?
This was Chris. This was with Chris and Jax. So this would have been Red
Okay.
Rockin' Tattoo.
So that was the second shop.
Yeah, not Chris the first time. Like I still don't have any issues with Chris. I mean, Chris was a retard. But that whole thing, I don't see any major issues with that. I still remember my first time doing cocaine was with them. That was wonderful. But it's that kind of thing, like it's that
Yeah.
that led into 6 years later, that led into me going to pick up meth from a dude in California. So I get out there talking to the dude, go up, get the baggie, and he's like, hey man, you want to do a bump before you head back? So it's a drive. I was like, sure, why not? So I didn't make my own line. This man made it for me.
Oh no.
When I tell you this was train tracks, it was massive,
Okay.
dude.
Yeah.
Like it
Yep.
was a massive line, probably
Yep.
triple what I usually do. And I'm like, it's fine. I'll handle it just fine. All in one
Some
go,
fucking gorilla slop on the floor.
dude. All in one go, walked downstairs, did the whole thing. I found a nice place to hide it in my car. And then I sat down and it hit right when I sat down to start driving. Everything started going like something I hadn't felt ever with meth before, where everything was spinning. I was like, oh,
Yep.
this is not going to be good. And I ended up driving back. So I think I left there at probably 5 or 6 in the afternoon. I got back to the shop until I fell
Like that wavy feeling. How long did that last?
until I fell asleep at the shop.
Whoa.
So I made it all the way back to the tattoo shop, including passing multiple police on the freeway. Like, I was assuming I was going to get pulled over the entire fucking time and just end up in jail. Got back to the tattoo shop, walked in, threw the bag in the office, laid down on the couch, and then I woke up at about 3 o'clock in the morning. They had closed the shop down and turned all the lights off, and I was just out cold on the couch. That was probably the closest I've ever come to ODing, and nobody gave a fuck, dude. Like, they just closed the shop down and said, and called it good. They turned the alarm on the shop while I was like, I remember waking up and the alarm going off because I moved. I'm like, dude, all right then. So that was that little moment of, well, never doing a bump that big again. That didn't end my use.
Yep. I have a
The
very
end of
similar
that,
story that you already know.
yeah. And that's just one of those like, all right, well, you hit that point of, I saw like, hey, that's too much for me. So I'll just keep it below that level instead of, hey, that's too much. I should probably stop what the hell I'm doing, which didn't come till much later. And then the final, like, I guess, nail in the coffin kind of thing for meth was this would have been a year after starting at that shop, or a year after starting using. I looked back one day, I looked back at some of my old tattoos, some of the stuff I did when I first got to the shop.
Yeah.
And then I looked at the stuff that I was doing currently, and I just saw the absolute degradation of my art over the months as it got worse and worse. I mean, I was daily use, constant use, usually up for 3 days, fall asleep for 2 hours or so, and then another 3 days good to go kind of thing. And like I made sure that I would always ate, so I was never doing anything bad with my body as far as that. Like I didn't lose any weight, nothing. I didn't look.
And
You
I
could
was never doing anything bad with my body while I
except
was
for the
doing
meth.
meth daily.
Yeah. But it's like there was no other ill effect aside from my body. I started shaking a lot, and that's where my art started drastically dropping. So I couldn't hold a steady line. I stopped doing anything with straight lines in it. So it was all shading this, realistic that, and it still just wasn't holding because I couldn't, I don't know, it wasn't working out. And I remember looking at that and being like, all right, I've got a sandwich baggie, probably, I don't know, 100 grams of meth in my safe. I'll finish that and then I'm done. That was it. I was like, all right, so I'll finish this out, call it a day, not do it again. That was probably the worst. No, that was the second worst. Like what's withdrawals, I guess, kind of withdrawals.
Yeah.
It was bad. It wasn't. I remember having an absolute horrible headache for like 2 days and just being absolutely just feeling like crap. But luckily, I had Maddie there to kind of like, hey, we'll get through it, man. It's cool. So
Yeah.
that worked out.
So I think I've asked you this before and I don't remember, but when you did my whole chest, you were spun.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I mean, we did do an 8-hour straight session.
Yeah. Did I have my little thing?
Maybe. I don't remember.
If I still have it actually. I use it now
God, of course you do.
Well, no, I have them now because I use them with snuff tobacco.
Okay.
But yeah, no. So if I had that little bullet on me, I was definitely there. Yeah. At the tattoo shop, basically living in mom's shed because I never really went in the house. I would take apart furniture because I could use the leather or I could use this.
Yep. Oh God, yeah.
I mean, I still do it. It's just
Methamphetamine.
like,
you become the most ambitious pack rat ever.
and you don't do anything with it. You just sit there. Like I had boxes and boxes of shit just because I could use it at some point.
Yep. It's still, dude. It's still hard to break that habit.
Oh, I still do it. I just do it with different stuff.
So many. I have like 3 different toolboxes with dividers and shit in them, with just random nuts and bolts. I use them very often in random uses, but I use them.
Nuts and bolts are different, I think. Like I went and picked up, oh God, probably 300 or 400 8-foot or 6 and 8-foot staves of 2x3s because the dude tore down his freaking shed. He was like, I got no use for these. I'm like, I'll take them. They're sitting outside my house right now. I've got random junk that I picked up, even like
shed.
That. Well, it's gonna end up being probably used for the rabbit hutch that I'm building, and then probably a bit for the reptile enclosures that I'm building. So I've got projects. I just need to be home for them. Like they would get used a lot quicker if I was actually home, but when I do get home, it's all right, fix this, and then head back to Maryland. So
you reminded me of one of my I almost died moments, and it was kind of similar to yours. So you remember Kenny from the apartment up on like Fort Apache or Durango or whatever it was. It was over by Mandy's. So Kenny's an ex-bodybuilder who was like 5 foot tall, but like 4 feet wide. And you could tell he used to have muscles, but didn't take care of them much anymore. And so we drank like fucking fish there regularly. That was during my a bottle a day of vodka plus more phase while I was working at Lavo. And prior to the power getting shut off, and I told that story on my Instagram about how I ran the power cord to the empty apartment below us and used that to power DVD or an Xbox, a TV, and a lamp. And I would save up enough money for a liter of vodka, a Ricardo's burrito, or Subway, whatever I felt like that night. And go to Redbox. That was my entertainment. I would sit in front of the fucking TV, eat my burrito, drink my bottle, leave a little bit left. So I had a shot the next morning to kill the shakes and then start the process over day in and day out.
Mm-hmm.
But so during that time when Kenny was living with us, he was sleeping on our couch for a little while. We were getting hammered one night and my roommate got some blow, and we did blow regularly, but not heavily at the time. It was kind of a party favor, not something we sought specifically. But Kenny, he's like, I was a little bit drunk already. And Kenny's like, hey, have you ever tried shooting it? And I was to the point of being drunk where I was like, we're in a safe place. We're in my apartment. Fuck it. Let's try it. And I'd shot ketamine back when I was like 18, 19, quite a few times, coincidentally, because I knew a steroid dealer. Did a job for that. That's a whole nother story. That's the whole reason that I have that sun tattooed on my back. That was that night. And I'll tell you that story too. We robbed a steroid dealer. Anyway, back to the Kenny story. So, yeah, I'll tell you that one. It's kind of a fun one. Ski masks and smashing a window and robbing. And anyway, so Kenny's like, hey, you want to try slamming? And I was like, I can't do it myself. It's like, I don't know how to do that shit. And so he hit me up. And compared to cocaine, it was like a whole nother feeling of a full body orgasm for like 5-10 minutes, and then the normal coke high for like 45 minutes or whatever. So that was really intriguing, really fast. So I got into about 3 months of doing that a couple times a week and drinking like normal and partying like normal and working really hard. But one night I had come home after like driving around to random Walgreens because I had no fucking idea what needles to ask for. So I got a box. I just wanted a couple. They gave me a box of like 300 needles. It's like it felt dumb like that, but whatever. Get home. I had got some off my boy. The hookup's name was Donut, and Donut got usually really good shit. And so the shit he got this night, because I had done some a few nights earlier, he had got some really good shit. So I had loaded up the little tiny bit on the spoon, went through the ritual, pulled the piece of cotton off the cigarette, sucked it up. I was sitting down on my kitchen floor because I didn't want to like fall off the couch or whatever. Sitting down on my kitchen floor, belt, I slammed it, I pulled it away, and I immediately started fucking fish flopping. Like, I was conscious of what was going on, but I had zero control over my body. Like, full fish flop. I don't know how long it lasted, whether it was like a minute or like 5 minutes or whatever, but like, I'm basically having a seizure on the floor. And then I slowly come out of it. And I was sitting there thinking, whoa, okay, next time I'm not going to do quite that much. So that I didn't do any more that night. I just drank and went to sleep and whatever. The next night, my roommate was home. He wasn't home. I was there by myself when I did that. My roommate was home the next night and I still had some or I got more. I don't really clearly remember, but he was like, hey, I'm going to go out. And I was like, all right, do you mind waiting a second? I'm going to slam really quick. And I did a little too much last night. And I just want to make sure I don't accidentally like OD right now. Can you hang out? And I did it. I was fine. I did almost that much. And it was just a normal high and whatever. And like, so like, I think I'd ran out after that night. And like a night or two later, it dawned on me that I had literally asked my roommate to hang out and make sure I didn't accidentally kill myself. And that was the night when I was like, okay, I need to stop putting needles in my veins and shooting up cocaine. It really like, and for the course of my drinking and whatever career, I never shot up again. I snorted it a few times after that. And every time, even now that I'm on a TRT cycle, I have to put it into my thigh. Like the first few times I'm getting some sort of feeling. It's half romanticizing and half like, oh my God, I remember that as if it was yesterday.
Yeah.
It was a trip, dude. I literally almost killed myself, then asked somebody to make sure I didn't accidentally kill myself. And I came out of it. So that was a moment of clarity. Didn't really take effect to quit, but I
At
quit
least
shooting
you
up.
asked somebody to hang out. I just kind of kept going with how I was going, just didn't do a line that big again, you know?
Yeah.
But no, on that, I actually can say thank you to you for your advice when it came to needles. Because the one thing you always said was, whatever you do, don't shoot it. was like, okay. So that stuck with me for fucking ever. And when it came down to, so here's a fun story that may not, she'll probably never fucking see it, which is fine. After me and Steph got divorced, the dude that she was fucking around with ended up, he was doing, I think it was heroin or something on a consistent basis. But I always beat it into her because I also introduced her to a lot of the shit that I was doing, whether it be coke or weed or whatever, salvia at one point.
Yeah.
Fucking, but I was like, whatever you do, don't shoot it. Never put a needle in it. Don't ever do that. And that just stuck with me. And it's still to this day, like if anybody ever asks about when it comes to drugs, I'm like, whatever you do, don't shoot it. They're the smallest little screw up and you're done. You don't get a second chance with that. But she ended up at one point when I was dating her roommate, she ended up ODing one night and freaking the roommate was doing CPR, calling the police after she had shot up and her boyfriend was fucking sitting there zoned out on the fucking bed. It's that kind of thing. And like, I found out about this much later, but
Yeah.
I remember looking at her, I'm like, you're a fucking dumbass. Like, I told you never put a fucking needle in your arm. And this was after we got divorced, after we kind of figured out, like, okay, we're fine. It is what it is. You do you. I don't hold it against her anymore. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But still one of those things like, hey, we spent 3 fucking years together. I told you in those 3 years, don't ever fucking do it. And you still fucking did it. And it just reaffirmed to me, like, don't put a needle in your arm. Don't ever fucking do it. So I'll never shoot anything like that. Yeah, I can thank you for that, though, because that stuck with me. Because I'm sure that would have happened at some fucking point if I didn't have that in the back of my brain saying, don't do it. Don't ever fucking do it. So,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome. I didn't listen to my own advice, but you're welcome.
I'm pretty sure that came after that.
Okay.
That advice probably came after, because it was definitely after you left that apartment.
Yeah, that was roughly, that would have been sometime near around 2010.
Oh, it was after that.
2011 maybe?
It would have been definitely after I was introduced to coke, because I still, so after that night, so that would have been, what, 2012?
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
So definitely after. But I do remember, Kenny, and I remember the apartments, and I remember getting a half a handle of vodka drunk and jumping a fence into the pool. It's fine. It's his 21st birthday.
With the security guard.
Dude, it's his 21st birthday. It's fine. Relax. Like, no, I'm 16.
Man.
And missing the trash can on my entire vomit, like hand on the trash can.
I remember that. Man, I would go make blender margaritas at the apartment and bring them down to the pool, and I would just bring the whole fucking pitcher of the margarita and get absolutely shit-faced.
I remember the mojitos before we went cliff diving.
Dude, I remember drinking Sparks in the Forerunner, driving on the way down to go cliff jumping.
Yeah. Wasn't that when we blew the tire on the Forerunner? Was it the Forerunner?
Probably, yeah. We definitely blew the tire down there. We also rode the motorcycles down there.
Yeah,
we went down there
many,
many times.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The motorcycle was a bad time. I'm pretty sure I had sun sickness or whatever the hell. It was overheated.
Oh, yeah, sun poisoning.
That was a bad one, dude.
Still got pictures of that time. That was fun.
Yep.
It felt like a good ride. It was just a bad move to not wear any sunscreen.
Or shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was no sunscreen, no shirts, 100 and whatever it was, 105, 110. Yeah, super fun.
Not a fucking cloud in the sky and a straight road.
Yep.
And we're,
like, at least Dad's house was in Blue Diamond instead of, like, back further. Like, we hopped off the freeway and we're right there. You know, that was a lot better than
I don't
driving
all.
all.
Oh, well,
by South
it was
Point.
in like, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
It would have been worse if we had to drive the extra like 20, 30 minutes to wherever the old house was.
Yep. Yeah.
Because then I'm pretty sure I would have died then too. I was dizzy when we got off the freeway.
I mean, the alcohol probably. No, wait, I wasn't drinking at the time. I haven't drank since I owned the motorcycle. No.
Yeah, we weren't drinking at all. It was just sun. It was just sun and shitty weather.
So, not that we couldn't fill another like 5 hours with stories, and I'm sure we need to get back on at some point. That'll be fun just to keep going. What's life look like now, man, for you? What lessons have you brought, and what does life look like now?
Lessons have I brought now?
Obviously, don't ever use a needle. That's a good one.
Well,
That's a great one.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with that one. I can't say that I won't not touch drugs anymore or alcohol. I mean, like, so I know this is probably not ideal for this particular
You're
podcast.
you're who you
I'm
are,
not,
and
yeah,
I'm
I'm not
not saying
sober.
yeah.
Like I'm not saying I won't ever touch alcohol or drugs or anything like that. I mean, hell, there was a point when we were back couple this would have been like the second year being in Knoxville. We found a little bottle. We went to the bar with Jim and Yvonne. Found a little bottle on the stairs with a white powder in it. And me being
Little brown
stupid.
bottle with the black top?
No, it was a glass bottle with a wax cap. This was somebody,
Okay.
I don't know, it was somebody, something. It could have been fucking baby powder for all I knew, but I went back and did it anyway because I'm stupid. Those kind of things.
Anything happen?
Minor numbing.
Okay.
So
So it's probably some shitty blow.
yeah, it wasn't Vegas status. Like I was used to I was used to a much better level of cocaine. My
Fucking
tastes
disco
were
shit.
dude. That I think that was the roughest thing. Cause I've done blows since then. Whether it be from when I was out in Cali again doing a job out there, and a buddy of mine had some that he picked up and threw me a baggie. I was like, cool, appreciate it. And it still just, it never touched what it used to be. And it might just be a, like you were saying, romanticized or like a memory version of it. But the
Yeah.
drugs in Vegas were so much better, or because it was the beginning, that kind of thing. Where I don't know, it just doesn't really appeal anymore. And now it's definitely falling more now towards like I'm not gonna do anything because I get drug tested for work and I work government contracts. Like I can't afford to lose this job, dude. We bought that house last year. I've got her brand new car on the bloody that we're paying for. I've got all my all my car, all the animals. I've got her. Like I can't risk
Yeah.
those things anymore. So it's definitely one of those. I've got a
Yep.
lot more on my plate to take care of. So it's a growing up thing. I think that's a lot of what it was. I'm not 24 anymore, you know? I'm not a kid. I can't do the dumb shit that I used to. I have to
Yeah.
work a freaking 6 to 6 job and pay for all this shit so we can at some point retire. I think just lessons learned and kind of things moving forward is just I guess growing up. I think everybody goes through that though in one way or another some people grow up seeing everything that went on around them or the dumb things that they've done. Or in my case, I've been lucky enough to have you to show me the absolute dumbest parts of things. And that has definitely helped. And
Don't put it
even to
modestly
like,
or anything.
you know, and
You're
actually
right, dude. You're absolutely right. I've almost killed myself several times, and I'm glad for you and all my other siblings' sakes that I was such a bad example. I'm very glad because you guys learned what not to do in reality and why.
Yeah.
Not just because some dare officer told you, not just because
Oh
some
God.
role model person said, don't do drugs or don't, this will happen. Like you saw it.
Yeah.
So for that, like I am literally grateful for my fuck ups.
Me too. I mean, I'm not grateful that you fucked up, but I'm grateful that I got to learn off them. You know, I'm sure it was a shitty time, but everybody got to learn from it, kind of thing. So we've all
Yeah.
grown. I think that's a lot of what it is. It's just kind of the growing up and seeing everything that happened and having those little lessons of things not to do. And hey, this is too far, or you've certainly exceeded your abilities, kind of thing. Like, hey, you need to knock it off. When a lot of people, even like I see a lot in the industry, is people get off work, go get drunk, and then they'll show up the next morning still freaking drunk and cause problems. It's like, all right, well, I definitely know I don't want to be like that, and I got to see what happens when you do that. And it's definitely been a thing for me, even, oh, hell, ever since for quite a while, actually. I hate dealing with drunk people. And I thank you entirely for that because I got to babysit the drunk guy for a while. I'm
Couple years.
walking over to the freaking Lee's Liquor to pick up a fifth of vodka in the morning because somebody's foot was broken because he decided to do a backflip off a rock, you know?
Yep.
So,
Yep.
God.
And
yeah.
I ran out
Those
of
kind of things.
and I ran out of pills, so I needed some booze.
Yep, fifth
Yep.
vodka or wake up for a fifth in the morning, that kind of thing. Yeah, and so I got to babysit the drunk guy, and then I got to babysit the people who couldn't handle their meth very well when I worked at the last tattoo shop, walking around scratching their head and that whole thing, you know, looking like crackheads. So yeah, it's I think that's the big thing. A big one that I've kind of brought with me is that I hate dealing with people now that are inebriated or in some way affected by something or other just because they can't handle their shit as well as I would hope. Or it annoys me because I get to see the relive and see the shit again. And it's just like, no, I'm good. I'm gonna go back to my hotel and I don't know, find a hobby.
No, that's good, man.
What about you? What have you brought forward with you?
I mean, it keeps becoming more like obviously in this new season of my life, trying to not just grow, but use literally what I'm doing right now. Use my fuck ups, my story, all of the things that I destroyed, and some which are able to be rebuilt, some which I have rebuilt, some which can never be fixed. Take those lessons and spread them to help other people. Like I'm in many, many, many times over lucky to have survived my choices. So, and I choose to call that God, which brought me through that. I don't profess that onto anybody else, but that's what I've identified it as. There's many, many reasons why I literally should be dead. Car crashes, blackouts, ODing, the amount of chemicals in different ways and different chemicals that I've done with my body. Literally blessed that I haven't died, ended up in prison, killed somebody else, or any number of those, any combination of those things. So I'm very thankful for all of that I went through now in hindsight. Going through it, I was just having fun. I just wanted to do the next thing. I wanted to experience the next high. I ultimately realized that everything that I was doing, including skateboarding, before I ever picked up a drug, not before I picked up a cigarette because that was really young, but skateboarding was my first addiction. It was the escape. It was the somehow I lacked development, whether it was because external or internal, and I sought to escape from that feeling that I didn't know how to deal with. Skateboarding was the first one. Cigarettes
Yeah.
and weed and booze by the time of 8th grade was the second one, or the second, third, and fourth. I never told you, I don't think I've ever told you this, but before you were ever born, I was probably 10 years old, maybe 9. I was walking down the street on the house, the Larchwood house, the first house that we moved to in Vegas, me and dad, and then your mom eventually moved before you guys were born. I found a little brown fucking glass jar, just like the one you're talking about, with the little brown glass jar with the black cap, had some white
Mhm.
powder in it. I'm pretty sure it was cocaine, but I found it right in the middle of the fucking street. Lifted it up, opened it up, smelled it. My whole face went numb. So it was probably cocaine or some shitty shit. Didn't touch it again for many years because I had no idea what I did. But stole beers out of dad's fridge, drank them in the woods, partied with, skipped school, went on shoplifting sprees, got absolutely shit-faced drunk. You know the scar on my side from the last day of 8th grade when I was skitching, like holding on to the back of the S10, the story I tell? That same
Yep.
night, we were drinking, we got a 12-pack of Keystones between me and like 2 other people. Anthony Ragdoll was one of them, and we were drinking that, and somebody had a bottle of vodka. Every time I would start getting low on my beer, they would fill it up with vodka. Yeah, this is 8th grade, and I'm still drinking it. Like, I'm 8th grade. I don't know what the fucking shit's supposed to taste like, and I'm like all of a sudden hammered and throwing up in the dude's toilet, and then going back and drinking more. So at 8th grade, I was puke and rallying, and I just kept going. That was a feeling. That was that euphoria. That was that calmness. I could accept what I felt. I could accept what was going on inside me in my mind, and I chased that every which way possible. Women, drugs, alcohol, partying, avoiding rules, being lawless, skipping school, going to raves, everything. Learning how to dance and do glow sticks and hallucinogens and blah, blah, blah. Like anything was an escape. And realizing that was probably a good year or so, or 2 years after I got sober this time, because I tried a few other times. I tried for a girl, I tried for a job, I tried for the law. That didn't fucking work. Well, yeah, you know that term. I tried for the law, and then I started
Mhm.
dating Tiffany because
Yep.
after I was on a court card taking the bus to fucking school, and then Vic and that whole mess. Started dating Tiffany when I went to work at Yonaka, and then we were up at that house off of Flamingo and Rainbow-ish. And one day, court card's gone. She's like, hey, I missed weed. Let's smoke weed. And I'll never forget that feeling. I smoked and I tried to play Call of Duty, and I was fucking dumb. I could not play. I could not function. Like, just didn't know what was going on. So I literally had 18 months of forced sobriety. And then it was like, okay, the next night it was like, oh, I can have a beer. And we had, I think it was a Heineken, shitty beer. And it wasn't 6 months later that we like decided to get married in one day. And by 6 months, I was driving down to work. I had moved in with Tiffany because we, for many reasons, got rid of that house.
Wasn't that that was
the house with it was you and me, and
the one
then
with the pool, right?
ferrets. No, it had the sandy backyard, and it had like the volleyball net in the backyard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the pool.
No, the pool was the fun one. That was with Mary.
Yeah.
See, females, like, that's another escape. That was another escape.
I was there with you, man.
Like, it was something to take me out of me.
Yeah.
Just any
Something else
means
to
necessary.
focus on. Yeah.
So within 6 months of let's smoke a joint because I miss weed and play some Call of Duty, I was stopping at the liquor store before I went home to Tiffany's apartment at the time and getting 4 or 5 little single shots of vodka, drinking 2 of them before I even pulled out of that parking lot. And literally this parking lot is 500 yards from the apartment. 2 of them before I pulled out of the parking lot, threw them away in the dumpster so I didn't have them on me. And then into the parking lot, I drink 1 more, throw it in the trash can that was on the way up to the apartment. So I was hiding it without hiding it because I thought I'd get away with that. And then having like 2 in my pockets. So we'd meet up, get change, and then go down to that little bar that was like a block and a half away. And I'd go outside to have a cigarette, drink another 2 of them, and then come in and sip the 1 cocktail with everybody else so I could appear that I was having the same amount. That was 6 months after 18 months of sobriety. That's how fast it went right back. So after that, and then me and Tiffany's horrible end, like 2 days after my birthday in 2013, like, she's like, you need to do something else. I moved myself into a halfway house, not even treatment, a halfway house, because I knew a guy who ran a halfway house. And I called Joseph up and I was like, I can't do this anymore. And he said to me, I hope it fucking hurts enough this time. And it did. It wasn't a big crash. It wasn't like a rock bottom, the jail, the DUIs, the other shit, the ODing. It wasn't anything like that. It was just another time that I had tried again and it doesn't work for me. And that was the bottom that I needed. So
I think I've seen it, I guess, a lot, not necessarily with just you, but from what I've noticed is it's never those rock bottom in jail, the got hurt, whatever kind of moments that stop people. It was a choice within yourself, looking at yourself saying, this is screwed up. Like, I need to make a change because it's within me making that decision. It's not the law saying, hey, you need to stop or you're going to end up in jail for the next 25 whatever years, or hey, you need to stop or you're going to die. It's literally a moment in your brain that says, this is probably not good. I think I need to change. And that's I think that's the big thing with it, because if something else is saying, like you're saying, 18 months of forced sobriety, and then immediately after that card is gone, it's like, oh, we're going to get back into it. And there's nothing in your brain saying, I probably shouldn't. It's just saying, oh, I can now.
Well, and there was no intent. Like, I'll be fine. I'll just smoke a little weed. And then 2 days later, I'll just have a beer. And then, okay, maybe we can have a 6-pack in the house. And then just slowly progress. I didn't even mention, during those 6 months of her and I together, I was literally, during near the end of it, when I was drinking a lot, I thought I had an ulcer. I had stomach issues, obviously, because I'm fucking malnutritious, a stressed out cook, and working, I think I was still 2 jobs at that time, might have been 3. But we went to the urgent care because I thought I might have an ulcer and I might need to get checked out. We were waiting. So the one up on Flamingo and Rainbow by the old house, we went to that urgent care. And while we're waiting to get seen after I had signed in, I was like, I'm going to go outside and have a cigarette. I go outside, have a cigarette. She follows me. Before she followed me, I walked into the liquor store and got like a couple little airplane bottles and drank them because those weren't the problem. It was just I had a stomach issue. It didn't have anything to do with that I was drinking all fucking day long every day. Like, that's how my mind worked at that time. So, and she's like, are you fucking kidding me? I was like, no, this actually helps it. Like, it helps me feel a little bit better because it's going to numb it a little bit. And then I'll go see the doctor. I think he gave me some like Prilosec or whatever, just some basic over-the-counter shit to calm my acid reflux because I was drinking all the time. But the other consequences were all external, or there was something else. It was something else's fault. It was the cops that arrested me. I should have taken a different way home. Like whatever. It was that person's fault that I got into a fucking fight with. It was this, that, or the other. It was something external. I had the option to blame it. At the point that I was at, I had run out of blame. It was just like, it's me. The common fucking denominator here is me. And I just can't do this anymore. So
Yeah,
that's where that was.
definitely.
And I mean, I still had a lot of problems getting sober and early sobriety. And like, I still struggled with depression and shaky hands for a while and like just figuring out how to actually live without leaning on a number of chemical crutches. Where I am now, like I take all of that as experiential fucking wisdom and use that to help the people who I can. Use that to look at life and say, this shit really doesn't bother me because I've been homeless, I've OD'd, I've been to jail. Like shit doesn't bother me now. I mean, and you know, Joe, my wife, like things get to her very easily, which her and I balance each other very well. But it's a blessing that I lived through it in many, many ways over more than one. So,
Definitely.
which is the whole reason you and I are talking right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Got to help some more people, man.
That's the goal. I'm working with a guy right now who he's having real trouble setting his own boundaries. And I get that. It's interesting being on this end of it. I'm
I can
learning as much
imagine.
about myself as I'm sure he is about himself.
No,
So it's cool.
I mean,
It's a cool new season to life right now. And I'm so glad to be aware, cognizant, and like learning and challenging myself and helping others through it. That and being a parent of 2 fucking toddlers is a whole nother set of books to be written on itself.
yup.
But life is absolutely beautiful right now. Challenging,
I can.
rewarding, frustrating, stressful, relaxing, and amazing, but it's fucking beautiful.
Good.
And I wouldn't trade it for shit.
It's good, man.
Well, that was a fun little tour down memory lane.
All right. An hour's
Yeah.
worth of tour down memory lane.
Yeah. Oh, there's so much more.
Oh, yeah.
All right. In the spirit of this being a real podcast, because I think we got some fucking gems in here that I'm going to use. Not sure if you want to include your socials in here, if you want people to find you.
I don't really have any, like,
Okay.
not for intent, I suppose. I mean, I don't
Cool.
post on anything. I just share memes.
The meme warrior. All right. Well, for everybody who's going to listen to this, or for everybody who's listening to this and took the time to go through the entire thing, if anything here resonated with you and you have the ability to help, well, for everybody out there who took the time to listen to this podcast and watch it, I really appreciate it. Again, this is the Crash Podcast. Chemicals, restaurants, after midnight, stupid decisions, and hangovers. Josh, I really appreciate you coming on, sharing everything that you did, and invoking me to share everything that I did. This is exactly what Crash Podcast is about. The moments that life hits the fucking wall and we rebuild after.
Yeah.
I think both of us have done quite a bit of rebuilding, and there's a lot still to go. If you're listening and you're going through your own crash moment, or you see a crash coming on, that's exactly why I built Hold My NA Beer, because we are the people who hold my fucking beer and watch me do this, but it's switched to NA now. So I'm going to help people if you're listening and you're going through your own crash moment, or you're about to crash, please check out the website, holdmynabeer.com. That's exactly why I built it, to coach people through that moment, those moments, and rebuilding life afterwards, piece by piece. I'm Bjorn. Thank you for listening. Peace.